Welcome back to Startup Hack. With my 25 years of development experience, here at Startup Hack, we turn beginners into full-stack developers in as little as 3 months. So today we're going to dig into what to say in a code review. Code reviews are super important, but sometimes they can cause contention in the team. We want to give you some tips and tricks that I've learned in my years that can help to make coding reviews better. So let's dig in. Do you want to start a lucrative career as a software developer? With our amazing material and awesome tutors that are available for one-on-one training, we can help make sure that you're successful. The course teaches technologies that companies use and want software developers to know. You can complete the course in as little as 12 weeks, so check out startuphack.com today. And make sure to check out the link to the coding samples. We always provide the code along with our videos, so check out the link below. Also, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you a lot of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. Now let's get back to the code. All right, so let's dive into what to say in a code review. So you want to give someone feedback in a code review, but you know text is so hard to get right. It can be misinterpreted all the time. So this can be true whether it's spoken or whether you're making comments in a GitHub repository or other type of repository. So you don't want your message to come across the wrong way. You want the other person to be open to your suggestions and see your point of view. This is surprisingly hard to get right. In the past, I gave feedback which slowly built tension throughout the review until there were multi-paragraph long comment threads. My teammates were defensive and I was at fault. I tried a few different approaches to fix this, and I observed that other engineers who gave great code reviews, after learning a few tricks, I never ran into the same issue. So let's dive in today, and I'll give you 7 simple techniques that you can use to respectfully give feedback while doing a code review. So the first is I wonder. The I wonder if we could use a switch statement here instead of multiple if blocks. I wonder about the scalability of this solution. As the dataset grows, will this approach continue to perform well, or should we consider implementing pagination or lazy loading? So when you want to use it is when you want to suggest lightly while opening it up for discussion. So I wonder is a great way to just say, I wonder, and then follow away. Now it can't be also, I wonder why your code stinks so bad, but it has to be something more specific, specifically technical too. I'm curious. I'm curious about the use of this external library. Have we evaluated its performance impacts and the compatibility with our code base? I'm curious about the accessibility of these custom UI components. Do we have something in place to give us guarantee around that? So when you want to use it, you want to call out that something about the current approach might not be the best and understand the author's perspective. All right, what do you think about? For example, what do you think about using map here instead of mutating the array for safety? What do you think about abstracting this repeated logic into a separate function or a custom hook to reduce duplication and improve testability? Another quick alternative to this one would be, would X make sense on some other type of suggestion? Would adding an error boundary here make sense to serve as a fallback in the UI? So when you want to use this is when you're making a direct suggestion while still leaving room for the other person to give their thoughts or to explain why they did what they did. Below are similar suggestions, and you want to make sure that you can take some of these and as we continue to move on. So what would happen if this list was empty? What would happen if the API returns an error here? This is especially important while you're trying to harden code. Another variation of this one is, if X happened, would you run Y in this issue? This is a little more direct if you're thinking of a specific solution. If we receive a large spike of users, would out-of-memory usage be a concern? Swapping it to the variation for the 2 examples, it would look like this. If the list was empty, would we error out from not having any results? If the API returned an error, would this page fail to load? So when you want to use this is you're pretty sure an edge case is not handled, but you still want to allow the person to tell you something that you don't know. For example, it might not matter that the case is not handled for now. So I noticed ... and what are your thoughts? So here's an example. I noticed multiple levels of nested callbacks here. What are your thoughts on updating an async await to reduce the nesting for readability? Or I noticed we might not be handling errors from APIs here. What are your thoughts on adding checks for the different status codes? Or I noticed the other files in this folder have some type of convention. What do you think about matching that here? So when we want to use this is when you notice something that seems off about the approach or could be better. You want the other person to see what you're seeing and open it up for discussion to solve the problem. So what and why? One light bulb moment for me was to stop using why wherever possible and replace it with what. So tell me which one makes you feel less offensive. Why did you decide to add custom logic here instead of using a library? Or instead, you could say, what's the reason for adding custom logic here instead of using a library? It's a small tweak, but why seems to trigger defensiveness, which can be avoided with what. I think it's because growing up, you hear why when you're scolded, like, why did you eat all the cookies? Something why often leads to is you, which is a huge no-no. Try to speak about the code or about things or about the team or we. Definitely don't try to use the word you. Avoid that one. So replace your whys with what, and you'll see an instant result. So also, you want to try to use some empathizing words to allow people to let their guard down. So some words to use is consider, might, seem, likely, and think. Some words you definitely don't want to use is have to, never, always, only, or no, right? You can see the differences between these two words. So these are some empathizing words that we like to use, and I would definitely be really, be careful of some of the empathizing words over prescriptive type words. What if the other person doesn't listen? So you may wonder if you're using softer language, what happens if the other person disagrees or if they just blow it off? Well, that's the whole point. We're inviting disagreement rather than resentment. If they disagree, you should provide a valid reason. If they don't provide one, ask. In my experience, using softer language has not only invited valid reasons that I might be wrong, but also increased the chance my teammates accept my suggestions the first time. Instead of feeling judged, they see me as an ally working towards a common goal. In the end, we have to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. So what are your thoughts? Do you disagree? I love having great discussions. Did I miss out on some good words that we could help use? Make sure you leave a comment down below and tell me about your thoughts here. And then also make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers. With my 25 years of development experience, we love to take people who have zero experience and train them to be a software developer in as little as 3 months. So make sure to check out the link down below or go to startuphack.com today. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.